the main mechanism of this government takeover has been central banking, where central banks essentially act as venture capitalists, right? So you have this ratchet effect where every crisis grows the government, right? This is the Civil War, government gets real big for a while. It never shrinks back to the original side. It basically keeps about half the difference. Over and over this happens. Of course, it happened in COVID, right? We had this massive increase in government spending, something like 50%, and we didn't go back. It became the new high watermark. And the role of the central bank, or in our case, the Federal Reserve, is that they hide the costs until the crisis metastasizes, right? So for voters, a new war, the COVID lockdowns, these were all costless, right? In fact, you were paid more to sit on the couch than you were to go to work. Right? So this is very, very tempting, and this is only possible because the Fed finances it, right? It acts as venture capitalists for every new crisis, and then each crisis permanently grows the government. At some point, it's not just the government gets bigger, it's that the growth of the government, the new bureaucrats act as entrepreneurs to then find new crises. What was interesting about 2008 is that the financial system put an enormous amount of pressure to try to squeeze a couple trillion out of the people. In 2023, we had similar scale of bank failures, and they just got it automatically. It was shocking, right? You had BTFP, you had Janet Yellen just sort of, any bank fully covered by FDIC. So that's about 100 billion covering like 23 trillion in bankers. I mean, it's pretty shocking. Nobody had to lobby anything. I'm not even sure anybody had to pick up a phone. It was just automatic. So we've really got these sort of auto bailouts at this point that are unlimited in scope. So that would accelerate the dollar collapse. And then people talk about things like BRICS, gold rail. BRICS has its own issues. It's politically dysfunctional. It's more or less a basket case. China and Russia are both very distracted at the moment. I don't think anything is going to come out of the near term, but it does remain a threat, whether it's a gold dinar that have been floated several times by Middle Eastern countries or BRICS or something. Gold does stand as a competitor, and it would drain it, but at a potentially rapid enough speed that it could destabilize it. All right, near term, talking about the dollar, there's sort of this paradox where as the fiat system gets weaker, the U.S. dollar actually gets stronger. So U.S. dollar reserves, for example, fell from about 73%, this is of central bank holdings, in 2001, 55% 20 years later. They then fell quite a bit after COVID, so down to about 47%, but still dominant. The paradox is that because fiat is worldwide, dollar weakness strengthens dollar demand. So the way I've sort of quote this is that the road to dollar death is paved with the corpses of weaker currencies. So as there are more concerns about paper money, as the sort of strongest man standing, 47%, those weaker currencies, the Egyptian pound, the Turkish lira, those collapse, and then people sort of shelter in the US dollar. And so everything sort of concentrates in this last point of failure. Gold periodically floated, BRICS, gold dinar, likelihood is low, as I mentioned. The thing is that if we zoom out, the paradox disappears.